no, I think really, Nick, that going into this season, he had just a touch over 100 innings in the big leagues with the Cardinals. So, and that was, a little bit of spotty work, right? It was some bullpen games. He had a few starts. He might not have had the regular reps and the regular rotation work that he's getting now. And I think that's been beneficial for him because he's been able to really, fine tune and polish, his game. And I think that, the learning curve and what he's learning by going out there every fifth day and pitching, you learn every single game, no matter if you have 100 innings or you have 2,000 innings or 4,000 innings, you're still learning. And I think that, for him, experience has been the best teacher. And in a short period of time, I think he's done a really good job of understanding how beneficial his changeup will be moving forward, how and when to throw his curveball, his slider, how his fastball plays against big league hitters, top of the zone, down the way, inside the righties. I mean, all those things he's learning just because he's experiencing. So I don't think there's anything he's doing different at home than the road. And I think, he's thrown, really well lately. And I don't want to put a high expectation on, his starts moving forward, but I can sense some consistency in performance moving forward from this fellow. He's got a good head. He's a great worker. He's a good student. He listens. He does all the things that you look for in a pitcher, that is, coming into his own.
There is one quirk in his numbers this season, and again, it's early in the season, so I don't know exactly what they mean. He is allowing even more fly balls than normal, and they go for home runs more often than in his brief past. Just from my eyes, I haven't seen it really be a problem at Coors Field, but is it at all something that he needs to address?
So that was brought to our attention about his fly ball rate, but the secret there is, to make sure that, there's not, a 3-run homer consistently in every game he pitches. He gave up the 2 solos in New York, but that's part of his game is the fly ball, ground ball, strikeout mix, right? And that's how he gets his outs because he does throw some fastballs at the top of the zone. He does throw, he tries to throw some fastballs down, but it's more of a function of how he naturally throws. High 3/4, tall guy. It's hard to consistently get the ball in the knees, with his four-seam fastball and his arm slot and his height. But he can also be very effective because of that at the top of the zone too. He can get pop-ups, he can get jam shots, he can get swing throughs. But when you throw fastballs at the top of the zone, as a starter, there's going to be some home runs, which is the fact of life. But you hope that the homers don't do damage.
Gotcha. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
Patrick? Danielle?
Hi, buddy. How's Ryan McMahon doing today?
He's doing much better. He's out right now going through baseball activities. I think he'll be available today to play. I mean, we thought about, potentially having him in the lineup, but we're being just a little cautious today. If we need him today, he'll play. He's confident where he is. Training staff, put him through a few paces, this afternoon. But we want to see him go out here and, have a pretty good day of practice prior to the game to make sure that he's okay. And I think for him too, mentally to know that he's in a good spot. So he's going to push a little bit today. Right now, it's probably happening right now. You guys can probably see it from the press box, and I'm in here in some room not being able to watch it, but it's okay.
Okay, and Trevor Story, I see him out here. He's done some throwing.
How's he doing? I'd like to go watch him.
I will let you go. But
He's doing fine. I think he's going to throw today. He's going to hit. All indications that he'll be ready for Tuesday's game in Miami.
do you send him somewhere
No,
on Saturday and Sunday?
no.
Okay, all right. And I wanted to ask you about Ryan Rolison last night. Really good performance. And when you look at the reports, what did you see? And he's at 3 of them at AAA level. And what are you looking for as the season goes?
5 2/3 pitched well. Gilbert came in and punched out a lefty to end the 6th. Want me to keep going on that? But no. No, Rolison, again, I think not unlike Gomer in some ways, that now pitching in AAA against better competition, figuring out how his stuff plays. I think, we talked to him about the increased use of the changeup in AAA or in the minors this season. I think that has been, hammered home to him, that has to be a big part of, how he works through a game. Fastball command, I think, is important. Last night he threw some good fastballs into right-handed hitters, which he has to do, just like Gomer does, just like Kyle does. All pitchers do, right? Tough ones, they got to command the ball to both sides of the plate to be able to pitch it effectively. Land the curveball. Curveball is similar to Gomer's, maybe not quite as big, but yet it's a 12-6 type look. He's got to land that for a strike. And just become a little bit more polished in his control and command, and being comfortable to throw the changeup at any count, any part of the game. And AAA is a good test. AAA in Albuquerque and some of these ballparks in the Coast League are tough venues. So he's getting an education now with 3 starts. So this is good for him. It was good last night.
And how much easier is it for you, the fact that your starting rotation is doing so well that there aren't constant calls to call him up, and he's not looking there saying, gee, I can jump in here because someone's not performing? I mean, does that make it easier just knowing that he needs to earn it his way without something happening here?
Yeah, I think that's always the preferred path, right? That, a guy goes from level to level and pitches well at that level and is deserving of a call up when needed. So, and he's in that. And I'll say the same thing about any pitcher on that staff, right? This is a performance game, and these guys determine their own fate based on their performance. So, he's got a good head on his shoulders to know that too. That he wants to be deserving of. He wants to be deserving of a call if and when it happens, and he wants to feel confident mentally and physically when that time comes. So he knows he can throw a good ball game. So
Thanks.
Yeah.
Noah.
And Matt, but yesterday Chris Owings was playing catch on the field. I saw with you. So how is he doing today, and how's his recovery going?
Yeah, he's doing great. He took grounders yesterday. He has a little protective hard plastic that he puts on his hand for the thumb. But he's doing well. He hit in the cage yesterday. He's taking swings. Left hand, it's going to get better each and every day. But yesterday, went out there and took grounders. But he is, I'm not sure the exact date. I think it's probably within the next week to 10 days that he potentially could be out playing on a rehab swing.
Okay. And then yesterday with Yency Almonte, obviously he struggled a little bit, and he's struggled really all season long. What have you seen from him recently where he hasn't been able to turn the corner?
Well, I think yesterday, even though the pitching line didn't show it, it's just from a scouting scale on his stuff, that was, the best we've seen. I think the velocity was up a mile or two. I thought, to the critical eye, his breaking ball was sharp. He didn't command the ball for sure, right? He made a pitching error by not covering first base when he jammed Garcia. The first hitter he faced, he should have gone over and received the throw from Adams, and the guy should have been out first, but he made a mental error there. And then he walked Gallo, not good. No commanded walk, bases loaded. Then got the fielder's choice, and then eventually gave up the home run on a pitch that wasn't located. But he's got to get the ball in the strike zone. I mean, that's something that we've talked about a number of times. And we've done a few things, with his delivery, some coaching stuff and some philosophical stuff. And, he hasn't been out there a lot, right? Because he hasn't pitched well, right? And there's, certain type, a lot of the games that we've been playing have been tight, but, he's going to get, he'll get another appearance and probably another one after that. And we'll just keep trying to get him better. And we'll try to improve his performance, but, he's healthy. His arm feels good. His stuff is fine. He's not making pitches. Bottom line, he's got to start with getting ball over the plate. The walks are way too high. There's a walk in inning. I think there's a strikeout with him, so his stuff's fine. Hits are too high. That's bad location. But there's enough time in the season for him to turn this around, and enough time in the short term here to string some appearances together and get some confidence.
And then lastly for me, entering the month of May, you said one of the two things you expected to be better was the bullpen going forward. And since May 17th, excluding Almonte's last two outings, well, two of his last three outings where he's allowed runs, the bullpen ERA been 3.07, which is 10th in the major league since then. What have you seen out of the bullpen outside of Almonte where they have been getting the results and been pitching much better?
Well, thank you for sharing that. I didn't realize that. I do know that it has been better, but thanks for bringing that to our attention. I think we've had a couple bullpen conversations with the guy, about some pitching principles, right? We were walking way too many guys early in the year, so we had a pretty critical meeting about the importance of strike throwing, and the guys obviously have taken that to heart. Not that they're trying to walk guys, obviously, but there's some without going through each guy individually, there are some things that we did with certain guys with their deliveries or mechanic style things. I think there was some philosophical stuff with certain guys about trusting their stuff, getting the ball over the plate, maybe not worrying about in or out or up or down. Get your good stuff in the strike zone. I think that's helped a little bit with how the catcher's set up, maybe more down the middle and not so much on the edges. There's a lot of different things that we discussed that I think have helped. But it was good getting Carlos back in the bullpen, feeling good and throwing well. I think Daniel's made a big difference, obviously, with his performance lately. We've talked about what we've done with him. Gibbons has been, I think he's turned around the last 2 or 3 outings pretty good. A couple of rough ones at home. Sheffield's been pretty consistent. A couple times here lately. Kinley's thrown much better. I think that's the strike throwing part of Kinley. Stevenson got off to a good start. He stumbled a little bit. Hopefully he's coming turning back around. But I think it's more simplest term. I think we've just thrown more strikes. I think that's probably the simplest explanation.
Thank you very much.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, buddy. Thanks, everyone. We'll talk to you all post game.